let's get started.
Okay, so I will share you my journey. So I actually, very quickly about my background. So as you know, I am a registered dietitian, certified diabetes educator. I actually started off, wanted to become a interior designer. I never even considered about doing nutrition. But a typical Asian family, your parents are very against when you go into arts, but I was very gung-ho about being an interior designer. Why I ended up becoming a dietitian was because my grandmother who raised me up actually died from diabetes complication. And that has a big impact on me mentally, where I couldn't really accept that diabetes can actually be that devastating. And I decided I'm going to switch my field, and I decided I'm going to major in nutrition. And why didn't I want to major in medical? It's because I felt that medication or conventional medicine has really not really helped my grandmother. I felt prevention is key, and I felt it starts with what you eat, and this is what you eat or how you eat. I decided to venture out into the food and nutrition. Be honest, when I started and I told my mom that I want to become a dietitian, she was very against it. And this is exactly what she said to me. She said, why would people pay you to tell them what to eat? They know how to eat already. That was exactly what my mom said to me. But by that time, I was very, very inspired and very, I would say to a certain degree, very stubborn, and was willing to give that a try. And I decided to, I went to University of Toronto. In my first year of University of Toronto, okay, hear me out here, when I was there, I studied 1 year to then in second year when I was taking my courses, which is in the life science courses, I realized that to become a dietitian, you actually had to go to a accredited university. And in Ontario, there are three. There's like Guelph, Western, and there's Ryerson. U of T was not one of them. U of T was known for research, but not known for becoming a dietitian. So by the time I was in my second year, I refused to go to another university, and I wrote a letter to Dietitian of Canada that I want to become a dietitian. I'm at U of T. What do I do? So they wrote me back a letter and said, you need to take credits at Ryerson or Western or Guelph to make up the required courses or credits so that you can apply your internship, a dietetic nutrition internship. I said, okay. So I was doing two universities at the same time. I was at Ryerson and at U of T at the same time. So I actually finished my degree, not 4 years, but 5 years. But now that I think about it, it was actually the best thing ever, because on my fifth year, by fourth year, I was done with U of T. I got my Bachelor of Honors Science degree at U of T, but I was still taking the rest of the courses that I need to finish the accredited university for dietetic internship. So on my last year, I was actually working with my nutrition professor while I was attending finish up courses at Ryerson. And that was the best experience for me, because that professor was very well known in the nutrition, industry. And that helped me got my first job even before I was become a dietitian or did my internship. So after that, my fifth year, I applied for internship. And internship, honestly, in Canada is very challenging. People always think that it's easy to become a dietitian. And in Canada, that's not true. It's very, very competitive. In the year that I graduated, I think 100 of us or 200 of us, I think the number of people end up becoming a dietitian is no more than 10. It's a very, very competitive field. Not the studying part, the academic part, the education part was not the I would say the competitive part or the challenging part. It's actually applying for the internship. And the reason why applying for internship is challenging is because there's so limited spot for internship in the hospital in Toronto, basically. Most of the spots were 4, 6, 8. And we're talking about university from Ryerson, Guelph, as well as Western are applying. So it's a very limited spot. And I got into my internship, did my internship, but right after my internship, I got a job within that internship because the dietitian I was working with in that internship really loved me, and she moved to another job, and her job was opening at that time, but I didn't want it. I didn't want it is because I knew that I want to become a dietitian because I would want to prevention. And when I did my internship at the hospital, which is all clinical rotation, I realized that I don't want to treat sick people. I want to treat people who are relatively healthy, not quite as sick to go in hospital. So I knew that was not the environment for me. It was very toxic to me. I see people sick and I'm mentally feeling sad all the time when I was doing my internship. And I knew that's not the environment for me. So I actually declined the job. I got a job before my official writing my license test and I declined it. And at that time, I applied for Toronto Public Health and I got my first job. And why did I work in Toronto Public Health at that time? Is because public health is all about what? Prevention, exactly what I wanted to do. So when I was working in public health, I realized I was only a message. I could not make a difference. And that was not what I wanted to do either. So after working in public health for about 4 years, I changed to different program within the public health. I realized it's not for me either. And by then I start to take in more of on the side, taking some private clients, and I start to build my portfolio, because in order to become a certified diabetes educator, you need to get X amount of hours. And I started to build my portfolio by then so that I can qualify to write another exam, which is certified diabetes educator exam. So by then, by 5th year later, I got my certified diabetes educator on top of my registered dietitian. So both them combined together, I start taking on private clients. But at that time, it's very interesting because, like I said before, I was all about prevention. And that's why I was very involved with the community. And which means that I was involved with Canadian Cancer Society, Heart and Stroke Foundation, Canadian Diabetes Association. We talk about Hong, Care First. You name it, I was there. So I was on their speaking committee, but I was eventually very involved with the Canadian Cancer Society. I was actually first was a guest speaker, becomes an advisory board, and eventually become the co-chairperson for the cancer symposium that's happened every single year. So I was very involved with that. And during all that time, I want to show you my background before I go into my prior practice, is that I was teaching at Centennial College. And why did I want to teach at Centennial College? Because my mindset was, when you're young, you want to learn and you want to absorb as much as possible. I was a sponge. I was ready to learn. And teaching was something I'm passionate about, because that's how about prevention. So I was working and teaching at Centennial College, teaching 2 courses. One was food safety and the other was health and nutrition for about 2 years. And I really loved it. Little did I know that decision that I made actually paved the rest of my future right now. It's because that taught me education and taught me how to teach adults. Because when I went to prior practice, teaching an adult and encourage them to make changes takes a lot of skills. It's not simply telling them you should do this. That does not get people, it's all about psychology. So I did not know that skills helped me so much in terms of helping with presentation. I do endless of presentation. Then I was invited, because of heart and stroke, I was invited to as a guest for a radio show, which is AM 1430 with Jenny Hong. And that radio show started for only about 5 sessions to promote heart health. Ended up, that was 2008. And since then, I still was her guest speaker at a radio show. So I've been doing radio show every single week with Jenny Hong. And that has built my skill set to the next level, because that enhances and allow me to really infiltrate the Cantonese market. Because during this time, I was working in private practice already. And my private practice, I decided that I'm going to concentrate downtown core. So my clients were all executives, in the banking industry, lawyers. Those are my clients downtown. So at that time, there's only 4 dietitians. I was one of the dietitians right there. Was it competitive? Extremely competitive, but it was the best opportunity, because it really helped me solidify and build the skills of marketing. Because when I did my internship at a hospital, they teach you clinical skills, but they never taught you marketing. Because we never market, because most dietitians, where do they work? They work in a hospital. Would people need to market them? No. They were sent patients. So they see the patient, they consult the patient. Some of my best friends are still dietitian working in hospital. So we never built that skills. I built the skill because I was in the job itself. So I knew that for me to be competitive downtown, I need to learn marketing. And that's how I built my practice downtown. And when I'm building practice downtown, I decided to start with one location, then I moved on to 2 locations. So one was downtown at Bay and Wellington in the financial district area. The second location was Yonge and Davisville, and that was a different type of client. So the downtown was workaholic, I would say high stress executive. Then when I was working at Young and Davisville, my clients were not high stress executive because that area, these were very wealthy wife of executive that worked downtown. So I get to really understand the difference between the different type of population, the type of diet that they go through, and that built my practice. Then along the way, what did I do? Along the way, I decided that I wanted to infiltrate the canteens market. Yes, I'm a workaholic, so I work 7 days a week and I incorporate as many as I can. And during this time, I think I also work doing a spokesperson for different of the brands. I do that. I enjoy it because every time when I do this thing, for me, it was building my portfolio, but the most important is building my skill set. I think skill set, I always believe that when you go to education, that teach you knowledge, but that's it. It doesn't teach you anything else. To build skill set, you need to be in the job doing it. And that's why I never say no to opportunity, because every opportunity, whether it's paid or it's free, it's for me to build skill set. And I know that my income equates my skill set. The more skill set I have, the more income I build. And certainly that is true, because compared to my colleagues right now, I make 3-4 times their income based on the fact, not because I'm a dietitian, but based on that I actually, my skill set was beyond as a dietitian. So you're probably wondering, okay, now that you shared me all this thing, what do you think is the most important thing? So first of all, as a dietitian, there's certain things that are very important. Number one is obviously you need to have a strong science background. You need to be like very strong in math, very strong in not only in science, but also in English, because we look at research paper all the time. So you need to be strong in clinical skills, but you also need to be very strong in analytical skills. Because when we went to university, I remember we studied disease, we studied diabetes, we studied kidney disease, but where I learned the most in terms of all these diseases and actually remember them was actually with my internship, because that 1 year of internship was the most valuable knowledge building time of my life. Why? Because when I see a patient, this is a real life person. This person doesn't come in with one disease. They come in with multiple diseases. And during that internship, you need to learn to prioritize. If they come in with, say they have kidney, they have diabetes issues, they also have maybe some digestive issues. During that time, what is your number one priority with that one? Second priority, third priority. So you learn to kind of prioritize what's the most important. That is where the clinical skills comes in, right? Your school give you the knowledge, but it doesn't tell you what you can work on. But the actual internship allows you to watch other dietitians and how they decide from this kind of patient with their blood work. And that's why as a dietitian, I need to be familiar with blood work. I'm also need to be familiar with medication, because I need to make sure there's no nutrient-drug interaction. So all this information, and I remember when I did my internship, we had this black book, and black book was all the medication listing, all the nutrient interactions. So we need to memorize them. We need to know them so well. And that's why people say, how did you learn medication? We have to, because that's part of your skills. Because if you have a patient that takes like what we call polypharmacy, to take a lot of medication, you need to know potential side effects, potential nutrient interaction, and potential nutrient deficiency because of the long-term medication. So this is that clinical skills I would say is very, very vital. Third is having a non-judgment personality. You will get to see a lot of people, and as human, we do naturally like to judge. And if you want to be successful in what you do, you cannot judge. Because how wrong do I feel is when I see some clients who come in and you can see them with brand name purse and brand name everything, but yet they don't prioritize their health. So when you talk about organic food, they think this is too expensive, but yet they came in with a Chanel bag. Then I have clients who come in and did not have a Chanel bag, but willing to spend any amount of money on healthy quality food because that matters to them. So I learned very early that I never prejudge a person by the way they look, because I never know, because the value of health to that person is not determined by how much money they have, but what they value. So the third skills that I would say is being non-judgmental. Fourth is obviously empathy, because just because you think that they should be able to do that does not mean you don't. So I often say that as a dietitian, I'm not just a dietitian, I am a therapist, because I get to learn their story. A lot of time I have clients who come to my session and actually cry, leave, feeling better because we just had a talk about why, because food is never just about food. A lot of emotional attachment comes with food. So when you tell people just to eat what they eat, it doesn't work. You need to understand the reason behind it, the emotional attachment, the history, how they're being raised. If they're being raised that you never waste food, they can never imagine that they stop eating when they're full. They only stop eating when the plate is empty. So these are very important things that you need to be mindful. This is where I talk about the clinical, the being the non-judgmental, but at the same time is more of a psychology aspect. And that's why I enjoy too, because a lot of my clients who are in clinical practice in the hospital, they never had to deal with the psychology of people, because people come in, they got sick, they write them their prescriptive diet in a hospital, and after they feel well enough, they discharge from hospital. I'm not. You understand? These are private practice. People pay you out of pocket. 70% of my clients are pay out of pocket. And if they pay out of pocket, you need to make sure it works. And that's why it really helped me to fine tune my skill set and knowing this type of client with this kind of condition, help with that. And this is why I always say that to be really good at what you do, you need to balance the art and science. The art is asking the right question, connecting with people, building that rapport, helping them understand that you understand them and you listen to them. You listen really, really well, because they're sharing so much information, and these are valuable information that you need. The science is obviously the science skills, but knowing what strategy work for what type of client, because different clients have different personality, and some clients like to be told what to do. Some clients do not like to be told what to do. This is the balancing of the art and science and balancing that relationship, because they're paying you, okay, in their own money, whether, because in Canada, dietitian is not like a family practice where they get paid through OHIP. We don't get paid through OHIP. Everything's out of their pocket unless they have insurance that covers it. But majority of my clients doesn't have enough insurance that covers to see me, so they pay out of pocket. So I need to ensure that in about 3 months time, 6 months time, or a year's time, I need to deliver result. And in about, if I cannot deliver result in a month, they're gone. They're going to another dietitian. So it's very important that you are very on top of things. You're able to prioritize with them, work on the case. And because the fact that I was on the radio show, it really helped me kept on par of things. I'm always on top of the newest trend, the newest fat diet, because I need to be on the radio show answering these questions. But this skill set has been so helpful in my private practice, because my patient will, or my clients in this case will say, wow, you know so much. Well, I have to. So that's why the radio show and my practice goes such a hand in hand, because radio show forces me to be on top of things, which really helped me in my client's perspective that this is a dietitian that is not outdated, is always on top of things. So that's how my practice worked. Then of course, I have my kids. And when I have my kids, I knew that I no longer can do one-on-one anymore, because one-on-one is still trading time for money. And most important thing is I want to impact more people. So before COVID hit, I decided that I wanted to transition into a virtual practice. So half of my clients were totally for it. Half of my clients would not for it. They really want to see me in a clinic because that's how they feel comfortable with. So I decided to start to switch half to my to virtual practice and half still seeing them at the clinic. That's why I only work about 2 days at the clinic, and the rest of the time I do virtual practice. So when COVID hits, it was, I would say it was the easiest transition ever, because the one that insists to see me at the clinic cannot see me at the clinic. So I transitioned everything to my virtual practice, and I already have system in place for my virtual practice, which makes it so much easier. So when I transitioned, it was not a hard transition because half of my clients is already on my virtual practice. And how did I decide to create course and membership is that I realized there's only 24 hours in a day. I have only so much time and I want to impact more people. And I decided the only way to impact more people is creating something that scales and creating something that duplicate. And that's where course and membership is. And I started creating membership. So one of my membership is called Simply Wellness Inner Circle. So that is a membership that teaches the 4 pillars of health, which is nutrition, exercise, stress management, and sleep quality. And there I have people who pay for my membership on a monthly basis. They pay either annual or monthly, and they join me once a week where I coach them, I provide them recipe, and they hit on those 4 pillars, how to improve those 4, using simple ideas for them to maintain and create healthy habits. Then on second hand, I create a course. And the course I created is exactly what my love is, which is metabolic health, which is preventing diabetes. So I do a hormonal metabolic health course for people who want more in-depth on this area. So a lot of my clients who take the course will end up join my membership as a way for me to keep them accountable on a weekly basis because they know they'll see me on a weekly basis. So I end up creating an online course. On online membership, I just created a second online membership, which is called Know Your Supplement. And the reason why I created that, again, go back to because a lot of people don't know how to choose high quality supplement. I thought there's a big demand for it because that was the most common question I get to ask me all the time. So I create a second membership, and that proves to be very successful. So right now I have 2 memberships, of course. And do I still do one-on-one? Yes, I still do one-on-one, but I keep it very minimal. I keep it very minimal for 2 reasons. I only, when they're a complicated case, I'll take them as one-on-one. If they're not complicated, I introduce them to the course. Then they will become attend and take, and I guess to introduce the membership to them. So I work with 2 types of patients. Patient who are complicated gets one-on-one with me. Patient who are not complicated, just needs more changes from a lifestyle habit. I put them on a course, then they will transition to a membership. So my practice has changed quite considerably. I'm no longer just a one-on-one kind of dietitian. I think I have moved forward. And because of that, and because of COVID, a lot of people in my membership start telling their friends in the Asia Pacific area from Australia, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. So I started to have clients who are joining my membership from globally. So I have a global market right now because of that membership and because of course, and honestly, thanks to COVID in a very interesting way that it helped me to become more, I would say creative in helping more people, but able to do it in the comfort of my own home. So that is my quick, short story, how I become a dietitian to where I am today.
Oh, thank you so much, Susan. You have shared so much gems, just jam-packed information that you've shared about your career so far. I'm sure there are just a lot of fun stories to tell all the youngsters here. So please feel free to leave your questions here in the chat box, and I will ask them on behalf of all of you. And thank you so much, Susan, for your stories. And it's just amazing. I would like to join your circle. Yeah,
welcome.
And all your roles that you've played. You've been. I actually saw in your profile you have worked in academia for a little while, and then you've also you've just said you worked in public health, and then you've transitioned from different environments into different roles and just gained a lot of skill sets. And I can definitely see it from the way you presented yourself, because you're definitely you're definitely a radio show host, and you're an expert in this as well. So everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And first of all, before any new questions come in, I would like to ask how are you coping? I mean, not coping or thriving in this rapidly changing business environment with your practice going almost, I guess, completely online and virtual now. How are you finding this transition, and especially with balancing your family life? I guess you would be working from home as well. So how did that work out for you?
I have to say it was kind of, like I said before, it's a blessing in disguise. But I really want to share something with people. As you know, nutrition has got more popular. When I become a dietitian at that time, it started to get more known. People know what they do, but most people think dietitian only give out diet. And I want to change that so much. Dietitian give more than a diet. We do a lot more than that. And a lot of time when my private client comes to see me, I said, if you just want a diet, you can just go to at that time it was Chapter, to buy a $25 book, a $5 book that has tell you about all the nutrition. You don't need to pay me $1,000 for my service, right? I literally tell them that because I want you guys to understand the value of a nutrition expert. Nowadays, at that time, it was books. Now they think about what we're competing with. Google, Dr. Google has information on everything. I always go back. If they have information on everything, why would they pay to see you? What do you offer? You're not just offering knowledge. You're offering the most important is you. People buy you. People did not just buy knowledge because knowledge is so easy to buy nowadays because you can search anything. Even in YouTube, you can search anything. But what's really unique is how you present yourself. And that's why I said, if you're young, don't be afraid to volunteer and do as much because those skill sets, I did not know that radio show. I did not know teaching at Centennial College has built such solid skill set that benefit me so much more now than I ever imagined. Because when I teach people, when I on the radio explain people, we say, oh my God, it's so easy to understand you. Or when I do my PowerPoint, I do on average in a week, I do about 7 to 8 PowerPoint presentation easily. Okay. And people said, doesn't that take a lot of time? The more you do it, the better you will be. Right. But the knowledge, the way you present the information, it's not just talking about, okay, what's time counseling? Everybody knows what time counseling is. Just go Google search that. But how do you explain in such a way that people take action? So when I teach, my mindset was, how do I get them to take the first step? How do I get them to get action? Because nutrition, no action, no change. If you can make a change in their life, if you can improve their life, they trust you, they believe you. And when they trust you and believe you, they will bring their friends with you. And that is the best. So I have never honestly ever paid for marketing. All my marketing is through word of mouth because I truly believe if you're good at what you do, you don't need that much marketing because naturally people voice is the best marketing. It is. So my simple answer was to balance it, was to know that skills, but to learn to boundaries. So there are certain set of time, certain days I work morning, certain days I work evening. So evenings is for my Asia clients, mornings or my North American clients. So because of that, I can still be a mom of 2 kids and still take them to all their classes, basically.
Wow, this is amazing to hear. And from what you've shared so far, I know that you work a lot. You said 7 days a week, and you definitely have a passion for it, and we can all feel it here, I'm sure, even though the audience have been a bit silent. And please feel free to ask Susan more questions. We have 10 more minutes for the Q&A session, and I will go on to ask questions that I would like to ask personally. And so, Susan, you have developed this international client base, and for it's really attractive for young people like me who would like to develop an international career, and with like dietitian or even like other medical sciences certification qualifications that they have, that people would have earned here. Is it possible to extend it internationally, to practice internationally? Because for a lot of like doctors or nurses, when they need to practice abroad, then they need to redo their licensing exam and whatnot. And then, but for you, it seems that it's quite transferable, and it seems that you can break through all these boundaries. And so I'm really interested to know more.
Okay, so that's a very good question. So when I told you that I work with very complicated clients one-on-one, they're strictly Canada because my license is to practice in Canada, right? So if it's US, my Asia community, they're strictly from my membership and my course. Remember, membership and course, I'm not working on one-on-one. So this is all knowledge based. A knowledge base does not carry the type of liability as a one-on-one type of clients. So that's why if you are interested in internationally, you need to balance it. So that's why I said I still kept my one-on-one, but I kept it minimum with very complicated clients. So, but if they are from Australia and they need to see me one-on-one, I cannot take them because I'm not licensed in Australia to take them, but I can send them to take my course as well as my membership. So either way, I'm still serving them, but in a different nature. So to answer your question, if you are a nurse, if you are a doctor, and you have a license in your own country, you can only practice in your own country because as well as somewhere else.
Great. Yeah, that's important to mention, I guess, because that's the concern that I guess a lot of young people would have with a lot of professions in the medical field. All these licenses are limited in the country that you have earned your qualification in. So for everyone who are interested to work in the health science and medical field, you have to remind yourself that you have to make up your mind that you're staying in Canada to do that, or whichever country that you decide to pursue your tertiary education in. And then there's also, because no one's asking the questions, and I would like to ask one more question and then we'll wrap it up. And that is about how let me forget. Oh, I actually jotted down, but then I forgot. I'm not a radio host, obviously, but I was wondering how you could balance your career, your hectic career, with your personal and family life, and overall be a very happy and yeah, that's what I feel, that you're very happy, passionate, and you don't have this fear of what if my treatment of my treatment plan doesn't work for clients. Just this confidence in general in handling things well. Yeah.
I think confidence comes from practice. I mean, I'm a dietitian for 18 years. So 18 years after thousands of clients, definitely built some confidence. So obviously when I have a client that comes to see me and I do the whole assessment, I pretty much know what I need to do with them. And when it's complicated, I treat that every time when I have a very complicated case, I treat that as my knowledge upgrade, because we need to upgrade our knowledge to stay competitive anyways. So I always value what I call knowledge upgrade opportunity. And I would tell my clients, thanks for upgrading my knowledge. And when that's the case, they know about it, because I really say, your case is very complicated and this is the reason why. So it really helped me a lot. And this is a chance for me to connect with my network, because obviously among my friends, I have a lot of doctors, a lot of health professionals and specialists. So I usually email and say, this is what I'm thinking right now. Do you agree with that? So having one or two people kind of validate what my assessment is really helped me to really provide a treatment plan that I felt very confident. So that's number one. So that's why I want to say that your network is your best gift, because in private practice, you understand you're in your own world. You have no colleagues, right? My colleagues was a chiropractor that's right beside me. That's really not a colleague to me, because we do completely different things, right? So whereas if you work in public health, you work in hospital, your colleague could be another dietitian. My colleague is not another dietitian, because we're in competition downtown right here. So having your network that you still connected with is so important, because that's where I get the validation of source of information. That's number one. How do I really balance it out? I think number one is what Christopher was saying at the keynote speech is passion. I am so blessed that even up to now, I still love what I do. I remember when I started to go into nutrition, I remember someone say, I cannot imagine 10 years later still reading nutrition books and things and still be interested. And my mind was like, yeah, I cannot imagine 10 years later. Little did I know it's 18 years, I'm still passionate about nutrition. And I think it's because I was on a mission. I really wanted to prevent diabetes. That was something that I felt very strong. I think when you have something that you're so passionate because of that, I felt every of my choices all kind of leads to the same thing. It was really about spreading health and nutrition. Think about my membership, think about my course, think about what I don't work in the hospital because I want to prevent disease. I don't want to treat disease. So all my choices kind of lead to the one mission is prevention. So that's what so because of that, I knew that having a routine is huge. I'm a routine person. I am totally routine. So I break up my routine in a 6-hour session. So in a day, there is about 24 hours. So I break it down to 6 hours. So in my 6 hours, one chunk of that 6 hours, no matter how busy I am, I make myself don't get less than 6 hours of sleep. That's my minimum. Most days I get about 7 hours of sleep. Then my other 6 hours, that's self-care. Because if I don't take care, like I'm in the health business. If I'm not healthy, how can I preach health? I'm doing prevention. So that's 6 hours, take care of my family, making food, exercise. That's my 6 hours. That's my creativity. That's allowing me that freedom. The other 2 6 hours, that's work. So the first 6 hours, that's where I do all the writing, all the planning for my, like, for example, in September, in October, I'm already planning my October, November content for my membership, as well as my, like my 2 membership, I prepare content. So while I'm waiting here, I was actually creating 2 PowerPoint already.
Wow.
So I'm getting prepared for that. So that's my 6 hours. The other 6 hours is my private client. So because I break it that way, I'm very focused. I knew that 6 hours, anything that's private practice, I don't answer, because my 6 hours for that is for my membership, for my course. Then the other 6 hours is for my one-on-one, and the other 6 hours sleep, the other 6 hours is self-care. And I need that, because when I start to have it kind of, when I don't set those boundaries, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed and very easy to feel like you got nothing done. And the most important thing is, how do I tell people to take care of themselves when I could not take care of myself? I always tell myself, I cannot be a hypocrite. I have to take care of myself first. And that's why I use these 4 sets of 6 hours to help me stay focused. And I found that's very helpful for me.
Thank you. Thank you for the structure. I've learned a lot from you. And we have 2 quick questions. We have a minute left for the Q&A. So Anita is interested in knowing about whether you have the IT skill set to design your own website and platform, or do you need IT professionals to help?
Well, in this case, I would say, this is what my friend always say, do what you do best. Things that you don't do best, you hire. So in this case, I hire, because it's not a good use of my time, because I know what my strength is, and IT and all the technical part is not my strength. So I have an assistant that help me. I have a person who helped do all the website design for me. So I have 2 assistants. One is more of the day-to-day, where to make sure to manage my Facebook group and all my membership questions, all my members question. And the other one is technically all my technical. I cannot get to access your thing. So I will forward the email, like help me answer those questions. So I can focus on coaching. I can focus on delivering the information. That's what I do best. So to answer your question, I hire out. And the most important, you should not be a jack of all trades. If you are specialized in that one area, you should be good in that area, and the rest of it, pay for someone else to do it. It's so much worth your time. Your time is the most valuable thing. Okay.
Definitely.
Second question. I have another question, was a direct message to me. So I don't think you see it, Mandy. So I'll do it. I will answer it very quickly. Then we can turn. My child now is taking a degree program in food and nutrition in Western. Which university would you suggest if she would like to do an open internship? Okay. So in Western, like I said before, Ryerson, Western, and Guelph has a dietetic accredited university. There are dietetic accredited university. That means for her to go there, that degree at Western will qualify her to apply for an internship. So she does not need to think, because after that, she can go for an internship. Okay, so she's already at the right university if she wants to go for internship. But I really want to say that very quickly before we end this, is internship is very, very hard to get in. It's so competitive, because for 2 reasons. Number one is hospital does not have a lot of placement for internship. Primarily it's because there's not a lot of job for dietitian. So they don't want to train so many that end with not a job, because dietitian is still a relatively new profession. So a lot of dietitians are not retired yet. So they're not leaving. So there's no position for them to fill in. And that's why they don't train that much dietitian, because the demand supplies are not there. So for those people who are applying for internship, I will add one more thing. You should also consider, if you don't get an internship, what can you do with your degree? Have a backup plan, right? Because internship, I said before, a lot of my friends we did the same degree, and only 10 of us become a dietitian. So really, really had to keep that in mind. Don't put all the eggs in one basket. Yes, the internship is your ultimate goal, but you should also think, if I don't get there, can I do something else? You need to have something else right there ready for you if you cannot get an internship, or else you wasted 1 year. Because if you don't get that 1 year, the next year you still have if you want to apply again, you wasted that 1 year where you can build a lot of skill set. Skill set is the most important, most important. Because if you did not get in the second year you apply, they're looking at your skill set. So take that 1 year, find ways to build those skill sets I'm talking about. Educate, like presentation, able to build rapport, connect with people, able to teach, able to connect. These are such important skill set. And obviously public speaking is a huge skill set, because this is a skill set that I'm so happy that I built over the years, basically. Okay.